14 of Next Level Chef has ended, but we are just getting started. Welcome to the official, unofficial Next Level Chef podcast. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever this podcast may find you. I hope that it finds you in great spirits. Welcome back, friend, and welcome if you are new to the podcast. My name is Honest Am, and I am the host of this here Dear Showrunner podcast, the podcast that is all about TV, and just a little bit of life. And this season, we will be covering Next Level Chef, where the contestants have a prize to win $250,000 and a year-long mentorship. And so before we get into it, I want to just do a little bit of housekeeping. If you love what you hear here and you are not subscribed to the podcast, please make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast. If you have been listening to the podcast since the beginning and you have not rated and reviewed it, girl, what you doing? What you doing, friend? Please go ahead and rate and review that podcast so we can climb on up into those podcast charts. All right, getting into it. Our challenge is all about the ultimate goal. Our chefs will have 30 minutes to make a next level fusion dish. Our mentors, we already know them. They really don't need any introduction, but I'll go ahead and introduce them anyway. We have Chef Naisha Arrington, Chef Gordon Ramsay, as well as Chef Blaze, our returning champion. Also, I just happened to be on my timeline, and Chef Naisha was reviewing this restaurant. I don't know if Issa owned the restaurant or Issa was just reviewing it. And by the name, when I'm saying Issa, I mean Issa Rae for people. I be talking about that girl like I know her. But Issa was in it, was in kind of this little promo. It was just really fun. Like Naisha was, in her mentor bag, reviewing different dishes. The chef, he was making a collard green lasagna. And it was just fun to just see Chef Naisha Arrington just in her element, in her zone. I want to say that this restaurant is in Slauson. So that was just really nice to see Chef Arrington outside of the kitchen and to see her with some of our faves. So that was pretty fun. So like I mentioned, this challenge is all about our chefs making a 30-minute fusion dish. What they will have to do is on the first grab, they will have to grab a basket of a country. For the second, and then once they have that basket, then the platform will come down again, and they will have to grab another basket, and they will have to like infuse these dishes. For this episode, we did have a special guest, Alexi. I'm not even gonna try to do his last name, but Alexi, he is a popular soccer player. The whole reason why he was here is because Fox will be hosting the FICA, I think I'm saying that right, World Cup 2026. Never personally been to a World Cup. One of my friends from college, he attended one, and his videos, it just looks so lit. So I'm sure that it's going to be a good time. But yeah, we were good. We were happy to have Alexi. Connor plays soccer, it seems, because we did have a little moment where the chefs got to play with the soccer ball. And so Connor knows all about Alexi. So this was like really a treat for him. So we're happy to see that. And so let's go ahead and get into our cook. Oh, last thing that I need to mention is that Connor has that 10-second token. He has the chance to either use it for himself or give it to another, use the 10 seconds for himself or take 10 seconds away from the contestants. Connor is going to go ahead and use the 10 seconds for himself because he says that his best dishes are the ones that he's able to think clearly, conceptualize, and be intentional about the grab. And so that's why he's going to go ahead and give himself those extra 10 seconds. And so in the top level kitchen, we have Connor and Cole. Cole, for Cole knocking out that dish last week with that onion cocktail. And so Cole and Connor is at the top. Connor, he's looking at the baskets and he sees the chicken tenders. He sees chicken. And I'm gonna tell you, Connor, you have to get away from this chicken. Like I feel like that's all Connor cooks is chicken. But he takes the chicken, and Cole is looking. The funny thing is, so Connor he sees the chicken and he's like, I just hear USA, USA, USA. And so Connor takes the chicken. He says that he sees Spain and he's like, paella in 30 minutes? Hell no. Like, I loved how he said that. But unfortunately, I don't think Cole was thinking that way because Cole saw the seafood. Cole was looking at more of the proteins. And so she saw the seafood and was like, okay, so I'm definitely just going to take the Spain basket. And her whole thing is she's going to make a paella in 30 minutes. Did I say paella? I hope I said it right. But she's supposed to make a paella in 30 minutes. And so I was like, I kind of already knew, like, just from how Connor was like, paella in 30 minutes, hell no. I knew that it was going to be tough for Cole. We gonna get there. I mean, I guess we may as well talk about it. And so for Cole, she grabs the Spain basket. When the second round come around, Connor grabs the Italian, and so now he's gonna do an American chicken parmesan, hybrid. Those are things that we see together all the time, but like a fried chicken parmesan. And then Cole, she was really looking for some heat, and so she ends up taking the Japanese box, I want to say. Was it the Japanese? I'm sorry. Sorry, hopefully it's not ruining. But Cole grabs. Damn, what was it? North America. Argentina and Germany. I think it was Korea. Okay, I can't remember for sure because I hate this. Like, I can't even read my own notes. But I'm pretty sure that Cole got the Spain and Korea because because she really wanted that spicy element because her whole thing was she wanted to do a jambalaya paella, but of course, like, she didn't, it's a grab. She wasn't able to get exactly what she wanted, and so she went with the Korean so that she can use that gochujang to kind of make it spicy. And so Cole biggest thing is she needed to get that rice on. She was chopping up onions and, like, I want to say Blaze told her like 2 times, like, you need to get the rice on. You need to get the rice on. Like, I really, really wish that Cole just would have, like, as soon as the platform had went out, that she just would have been like, put that, like, went ahead and put the rice on. So that would have been one less thing that she had to worry about. Connor was really just in his zone. He really loved Alexi coming to visit. Alexi went to go visit all the floors. And we learned this really fun chant that, of course, is where we're going to get our life lesson from this week. And it is, we believe that we can win. I 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 love it. I love it. I love it. I'm still in it, and I shall be taking it. So they were doing that little chant when Alexi came up because you know how Chef Blaze is. Chef Blaze was just in his bag and he was having fun. In the middle level kitchen, we have Andy and Darian, and so for the first time, Andy is going to grab a Mexican basket because she was like, she saw all of these beautiful, like, vibrant fruits. I mean, these vibrant vegetables. And she's like, this is really great. Darian saw the steak. He said it looks very good. So that's what he's going to do. And so on the second round, Andy was going back and forth between England and Brazil, I want to say. And then, was it England and Brazil? I really did this podcast Friday because I'm like fucking everybody things up. Uh, Yeah, so Andy ends up getting Mexico, and because she was going back and forth between Brazil and Canada, she felt like the Canada was the easier basket, and so she went with Canadian. So now she has to make a Mexico Canadian dish, which of course is something that I've never heard of before. This would be a brand new infusion. And then for Darian, he does Argentina and Germany, which is also like, what the world. But he liked that bratwurst and he saw some sauerkraut and he's like, this is challenging. but I am totally down for the challenge. And so for for Andy, she was just like really struggling with trying to figure out like what type of dish she was going to make, like how she was really going to bring it all the way home. Um, what did she? But she did have like a steak as well. I want to say. Oh, Andy had a pork chop. And her pork chop ended up being Andy had a pork chop that she had to cook, but she was just again like really struggling with trying to put together those Mexican flavors as well as those Canadian flavors. Darian also was kind of, he was like, I've never heard of Argentina and Germany together. But he knew that he wanted to do a chimichurri, and then so Naisha was like, "Oh, they both tasted the sauerkraut," and it's like, "Why don't you put that sauerkraut in your chimichurri to kind of give it some of that umami flavor, maybe?" And he ended up doing that, and that worked out for him. Down in the middle, I mean, down in the basement, we have only Gabby, and Gabby is cooking with Chef Ramsay, and they are just the Gabby was just in heaven. She she was having a ball. They end up getting an England basket with some fish and some capers, and so right away she knows that she's going to do a fish and chip dip. I mean, they are just down there in the zone. They get this Brazilian basket where Ramsey was just like, Brazil, like wouldn't have been his first it wouldn't have been his first choice, but they got it and they made it work anyway. So they got it and they made it work anyway. What she did, what she ended up doing was putting up some of that Brazilian sausage, putting that in her peas, as well as using some of that liquor to deglaze, as well as putting it in her batter as well. So that is our cook. Our biggest thing on the top level is Cole trying to finish up her rice in time. Our big thing in the middle level is Andy trying to really figure out how to just bring her dish together. And then in the bottom level, Gabby was just having fun. She's like, "This is the best cook I had. This will always go as a highlight of my life." And she's like, "I had two kids," which is like, as a kid, I'm like, "Mama, get your shit together." But also, it's like, I love it. Like, you could just really tell she was just having fun down there. And so that brings us to our mentor debate. Some of the top dishes that they really, really loved. They really loved Connor's American chicken parmesan. Chef Ramsay said that it was a little under seasoned for him, but they thought that it was pretty good. From the middle level kitchen, they absolutely loved Darian's sauerkraut with his sauerkraut chimichurri. Blaze was like, that's something that you really wouldn't think would go together, but he really knocked it out the park. And then of course they loved Gabby fish and chips. They talked about how crispy her fish was, how smart it was for her to use that Brazilian liquor in her batter. It was just a really good overall cook. Um, some of the dishes that they didn't care for too much, or the ones that end up falling to the bottom, is Cole's paella. They said they really didn't see the fusion. The gochujang was really understated, and it probably was understated because when Cole was trying to cook that broth, like it was, she had to, I mean, cook that chicken. Cook the rice. She had to keep putting broth in it, and I'm sure like that probably end up like getting some of that spiciness out of there. And they also said that her rice was like 90 seconds underdone. So again, if she would have just put that bad boy on as soon as she got there, but you live and you learn. And then for Andy, they said that her pork chop was just very dry. And then again, they were really struggling to see those fusion elements. When it came time to pick the winner for this debate, the chefs were really button heads. Naisha and Blaze were just on the same track that Darian won this, like no matter what. Gordon, I think because when Gordon cooked with somebody, I think he ended up getting like an unconscious bias. Like he's like, no, the fish and chips is the winner for me. Um, a Darian dish with Gabby dish is gonna be Darian every time, and so the winner ended up being Darian. And he's able to get that 10-second time token going into the semifinals. And so now we will have the semifinals coming up this week. and then the finals next week. So only two more episodes, and then we're done. And so I guess we're never going to get that double elimination like I was thought. Like they literally just let us play it on down to the wire. So that's interesting. In our elimination is going to be a 25-minute Greek challenge, and we have my two girls, Andy and Cole and Gordon. I was just like Gordon, like this is not good. I don't care who, like whoever ended up winning. I'm going to be grateful for them, but whoever we end up losing, it's going to be a loss either way. And so when we get into our elimination cook, the big thing here is that they both have to cook a whole lamb, a whole rack of lamb. And so for Andy, for both of them, it was like Blaze was like, "Hey, if you're going to keep it whole, then you have to get the ram the rack of lamb in the oven as soon as possible." And so Cole was just debating on whether she was going to keep it whole or whether she was going to cut it. And in the end, Cole was just like, "I just have to be confident," and she decided to keep that lamb whole, put it in the oven, and she did not cut that bad boy when it went over to the judges. Andy was just again a little bit flustered. Her contestants were trying to give her some pointers, and she had to be like, y'all calm down. I got this. Andy ends up cutting her lamb chops, and she ended up doing it like a pistachio type of fig thing. In the end, when it come down to it, Chef Ramsay said that Andy plated her plate with finesse, whereas Cole did hers with confidence. Like not being able to cut into that, it was a really, really ballsy move, but it actually ended up paying off in the end. And so at this round, we end up losing Andy, which I'm really sad to lose Andy. But just like the contestant said, Naisha said, like you really found yourself in this competition. And I do feel that way. Like Andy, I don't know how confident she was in her skills of being a chef, but I love that Ramsey said that there is room for you. There could be a career for you here. Another thing that I just want to point out for Andy, and this is, going into our final thoughts, into our life lessons, is that, Andy talks about being from West Africa and being Cameroonian and, like having all of these different parts of her molded together and her coming to the United States and just really exploring all of these parts of herself. Naisha spoke about listening to Andy music. I told you guys like Andy was on one of my favorite shows, Upload. And now she's also cooked. Like when I look at Andy, it just seems like she's this type of person that really goes after her passion and just allow none of it to like sit on the table. Like I'm thinking about this saying, and it says like you die empty. Like you shouldn't go on your deathbed. Like one of the number one things when people are on their deathbed, they regret not doing the things that they really truly wanted to do. They regret living their life for somebody else versus living it for themselves. And Andy, I feel like she is the example of living a life for yourself, exploring all of these different sides of yourself. And I do think that a lot of that does come from her just being an immigrant in this country. And I think that's why sometimes uh, there can be some frustrations that it feels like immigrants have more opportunity than even a Black American. But I just hope if you hear this and you are a Black American, or if you're just a young person, or if you're not even, American, young, young, old, Black, white, whatever, and you are questioning whether you have it to go after your dreams, or you are trying to figure out like if it's even worth it, like just look at Andy and see like you have to like you owe it to yourself to at least try to do the things that you say that you want to do. I for a very long time I realized like since I was a kid I used to always talk about wanting to be an actress and wanting to pursue acting. But I felt like if I didn't go to California, if I didn't go all the way to the top, then what's the point? What's the point in pursuing it? But lately, I have been in an actor's workshop, and it has just been such a rewarding experience. And I have this workshop coming up tomorrow, and I was really debating on whether I should tell my family about it. And I decided to just keep it to myself because I want acting to just be this thing for me until it becomes a thing. But I really had to I had to look at my own belief systems, and I realized there was a part of me that felt like if I can't be the best or go all the way to the top, then I can't do it. Then I shouldn't do it at all. I was afraid of failure. That really was a thing. I was afraid of failure, and what would it mean if I pursued this thing and I couldn't really do it? But this year, I went into it with this different mindset, and it wasn't about becoming the best in the world, but actually just seeing for myself, like this thing that I love, this thing that I talked about since I was a child. Can I actually do it? Can I actually pursue it? Do I actually have the skills? And this being in this workshop has really shown me like I do have it. And now I don't have the mentality of, oh, I have to be the best star in the world. It's just like if I can do a couple of plays, I'll be happy. I will be content. And so I think for whoever I'm talking to, I just really want to urge you to not settle, to really truly go after all your passions and dreams, just like Andy, because you never know. You may surprise yourself and, stumble upon a whole new career path. So thank you, Andy, for showing us that through your life. Final thoughts. So our life advice is really, really easy. Like I told you guys about the chant, I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. Now that is about a team, but just all again. But we're gonna turn that around and make that about the power of believing in yourself. I love how Cole, when it came down to it, her having to go into elimination, she was just like, I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's supposed to lose. Everybody's supposed to go home because I'm supposed to win. And that's just about having that supreme confidence, having that belief in yourself that you are meant to be here and that you are meant to take it to the finish line. Another life lesson that I love is from Darian, like challenge yourself. Not don't I really feel like Andy end up hurting herself this round is because she went with the easier basket instead of just going with her first mind and grabbing that Brazilian basket and making it work. Okay. Another saying that's coming to mind is, you think long, you think wrong. If you constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, go with your first mind, and then go with your first mind, and 9 times out of 10 you will not regret it. But yeah, that is our life lessons. Believe in yourself, challenge yourself, and go after your dreams. And don't settle in life, because life is so fucking short, and you don't want to get to the end or get on your deathbed and be like, damn, I didn't do any of the things I said that I wanted to do. Predictions. So we are going into the semifinals. Um, this is it, y'all. This is going to determine who's going to be our top three. And we have Gabby, we have Darian, we have Connor, and we have Cole. I told y'all I've always felt like Connor and Cole was going to be two of those slots. I kind of feel like it's going to be Darian as that third, but we'll see. As you can see at this stage of the competition, we have nothing but pro chefs left. So, no matter what, there will be a pro chef win. One thing that I do love is that right now we are gearing up to where at least one team, one mentor have somebody in the finale. And hopefully if Darian pulls it off, it will be, we can have a representative of each team. Not wishing on Gabby downfall, but just looking at how the competition has been going out, Darian is not going down without a fight. I just feel like Darian is going to he's going to get that third place, but we'll see. Next episode. So our next episode, the clue that we get is Jacob and loyalty. I forgot what our next goal, what it is. I think I want to say he said the next goal is kicking it up a notch or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see what the next episode is. We are going into the semifinals, and so now it really is. We're winning. We're going to see who's going to be the next winner of Next Level Chef. Who do you think is going to be? Comment. Let me know. And then we will see in 2 weeks who's going to be our winner. Are you excited? Oh, we are at the end. We are nearly at the end, and we are nearly at the end of this season, but we are at the end of this episode. So as always, I want to just say, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. I am your host, Honest Am, of the Dear Showrunners podcast, as well as Honestly Sis. As long as it's Honestly Sis, if you love what you hear here, check out www.honestlysis.com. We would love to have you there. Okay. All right, friend. Thank you so much for helping my dreams come true. Until we meet again, wait, I will see you there. As always, if you love this podcast, please make sure that you are subscribed to it. If you really, really love it, share it to your favorite social media timeline. You never know who may want to hear this information. All right, friend, thank you for helping my dreams come true. Now get your ass out there and work on your own. I will meet you at the next level. I will meet you at the top or in the next level.